VivaLove.com.
It's an honor to be here live in the epicenter of show business. I led a generational prison break because it's universal, just like Las Vegas is. When you say Las Vegas today, it includes big band. Of course, Mike Bublé is going to bring in some big band. I was at Harry Connick Jr.'s very first show in Vegas, and we include that. But it's the big sound that is rock that includes everything that is funky. Come on, the beginning of Jamie's Crying is that's rumba. I expect somebody to go, hey, Lucy.
All right, Dave, you know what time it is.
It's time for some mail.
Oh, he took a left turn on that. He went Don Pardo, and then he went left turn. I like it. And that's right, it is mailbag time again. First mailbag of the year, and it is a big one, so we're going to keep rolling here. So, number one, our friend Paul Davis, who was at the Vegas meetup at Cabo Wabo. Paul is very active this time. He's got 2 letters in, and he says, Dave and Dave, Christian Han on KLOS was recently extolling the virtues of Alanis Morissette and producer Glenn Ballard on KLOS. And he sent us the link. While listening to the clip, Christian mentions that Glenn Ballard worked with Van Halen. Even if you're not a fan of Atlantis, the story of how this song came together and who, not Van Halen, played on it will totally surprise you. It's awesome. And it's Alanis Morissette's You Ought to Know by the KLOS sessions. Anyways, I looked it up, and damn right if he did. Glenn Ballard worked on Van Halen's Greatest Hits Volume 1. And one of the songs he wrote with Dave is in my top 10 of all-time Van Halen songs. It's not a super well-known song, but I love it. And he's talking about Me Wise Magic. I love to hear you guys interview Glenn Ballard to hear how it came about. What were the 5150 recording sessions like? And Mike's backup vocals on this song are amazing. Best regards, Paul Davis. Now, Paul, I actually am actively trying to get Glenn Ballard, okay? So he's not easy to get, that's for sure, because he's a big-time producer, and I'm trying. I don't know if it'll happen. I've tried before, and I actually got a new email, and I'm trying again. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to say about Me Wise Magic, I happen to love this song, and I've been trying to sell people on it more, and I wish that they had actually performed it live, and I thought they might have at the 2007 tour. But to no luck, I think it's an underrated song. I think the 2 songs on the Greatest Hits Volume 1 with Dave are great. I love them. I think they're fantastic. Where do you stand, Dave?
Did Glenn actually co-write that song?
I don't know. According to him, he says, yes, I have to look it up. And
I'm kind of surprised to hear that. I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean anything. But I do agree with you. I do like Me Wise Magic. That was a little bit of a grower for me at first, but I like it more now. And Can't Get This Stuff No More. That's just like the classic.
Yeah.
Last song that the original lineup would ever play, and lyrically very apropos.
Yep.
Can't get a more perfect one than that.
Right.
So, yeah, I would love to have Glenn on the podcast and pick his brain about that whole session.
Absolutely. And Paul loves this so much that he came back, and he's got letter number 2. He says, Dave and Dave, let's face it. Eddie doesn't want to tour, and I can't blame him. I'm sure it's a ton of work. But what if Eddie decided it was time to bring back an idea that was short-lived in 1985? A Van Halen album with either new tracks or even a reimagined tracks of Van Halen songs featuring a bevy of popular vocalists from today. Bruno Mars, Orenthi, Alanis Morissette, Luke Spiller of the Struts, Josh Kiszka from Greta Van Fleet, Fitz and the Tantrums, Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, Katy Perry and such. Imagine Bruno Mars singing Secrets. Yes, the album would be amazing and there would be no way for them to tour to support it. What if, motherfucker? Best regards, Paul Davis. Well, Dave, it looks like we are entering into another episode of What If? Now it's time for What If with Dave and Dave. Shit, what if? What if? Dave Marconi's favorite segment, What If? What if, motherfucker?
I don't do what ifs.
So, what do you think of this idea, Dave?
I think it encroaches dangerously onto Santana's Supernatural album.
That's true.
And I get a little nervous because it sold like gangbusters, but Santana basically guessed it on his own album.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I like the concept. I don't know. It's oh man, it's iffy. It's got to be executed very carefully.
Yeah, it's also a lot of work. That's a lot of work. It's
not the lot of work part that concerns me, but like, especially if you're going to be remaking songs.
Yeah.
That also gets dangerously close to cheesy. And you got to be really careful on the execution of it. Oh man, I have mixed feelings about. Part of me is like, yeah, do it, and the other part of me is like, I don't know, that this could be like a steaming heap of trash very quickly.
That's very true. Well, I tell you what, I think it's an interesting idea, Paul, and I like it. And I say, let's start with Billie Eilish doing Secrets. Ooh, I tell you what, that'd get a lot of publicity, that's for sure. But the problem with that is, though, to be honest, the concept is great, but it might be a little late in the game for this because, this is a lot of work. When you start having artists upon artists upon artists upon artists from all different record labels, it gets very tricky and it's expensive. The problem also is, number one, I don't think Eddie would remake anything. I don't think this guy won't reissue old stuff that is just sitting on the shelf, let alone remaking his own songs. I don't see him doing that. He always wants to move forward with new material. Now, I know that, he would probably want to do something new. I could just hear him in my head going, I already did it. Why would I do that? Why would I record a song I already recorded? He wouldn't want to deal with that, that's for sure. And the also question is, does he want to release new material? He doesn't want to even put out archives, you know what I'm saying? And, stuff from the 5150 vaults. I wish he would just focus on material that he has already recorded. He has tons and tons. Here's the other thing I really freak out about. And everybody talks about the 5150 library and all the stuff that's up there. I got news. Unless he starts digitizing that stuff, it's going to be unusable. Even if he's not going to put it out yet, somebody has to transfer that stuff or the tapes are going to be dead. All that stuff is going to be lost. Somebody has to start transferring those files or else those files, all that music is going to be lost forever. And it's not going to be about, when Eddie passes on, they'll release it. There's going to be nothing to release. Because you got to bake those tapes and you got to transfer. It's a lot of work, but you got to do it. What do you think?
It is a lot of work, and it's not like there's finished songs or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping somebody like Matt Brock is digitizing all that stuff.
I don't think he does.
I doubt it, because that's probably just like, well, who cares, whatever. And unfortunately, there's going to be no action on that stuff like that for years to come.
I understand that, but it might be too late. You know what I'm saying? It might, if you wait.
Maybe. Yeah, who knows what it's like. I mean, if the place isn't temperature controlled and kept cool and the tapes are degrading.
Right.
Who knows?
There's no way that's being handled properly. It's just sitting in the shelf. It's not. Look, if that recent fire has taught us anything, what was it, Universal Day? Right? If there's one thing we've learned from that, you got to take care of your archives, and you got to set it a certain way.
That's all, folks.
Moving on to letter number 3. This comes from Dan Ninen, okay, our friend who reported on the Eddie Van Halen con. He's a comedian, Dan. So he says, love the new episode, by the way, and your podcast only comes out once a month as opposed to once a day or once a week like other podcasts. So if anyone thinks it's too long, how about this? Pretend it's a weekly and listen 45 minutes every week, or pretend it's a daily podcast and listen 10 minutes a day. Problem solved. P.S. I can't believe people bitch and moan about something that's free. Dan Ninen. So, Dan, we don't get people really bitching and complaining. That's about that as much. I say that all the time, though. The podcast is broken into sections so people can listen to the segments as they choose and please. weeklies. So however you do it is however you want to do it. You can binge it all together or you can break it up. That's why we do it that way. And we cannot do this weekly. This is too much work to even put in every month. It's a lot of work. So in order to do it weekly, it's just also not enough material to do it weekly. That's crazy. So once a month is enough. What do you say, Dave?
I agree. I think the only one complaining that it's too long is me.
Probably.
Right? And I've been summarily shot down. So we're going to move right along to the next letter.
That's right. Letter number 4 coming from Tim McNulty. And he says, "Hi, Daves. I just listened to the Andrew Bennett interview, and he mentioned that Eddie played bass on all 3 songs from 2004, and he never saw Mike at the studio. My question is this. How did Mike record his background vocals? Did he record them at another location? Keep up the great work. Tim McNulty." So, Tim, I have put in some calls on this, and I'm waiting to hear back. It's going to take a little time, so we might have to come back to another mailbag episode where we have the full answer. But I agree with you. This is a bit of a mystery. Andrew Bennett, and I confirmed with him, he never saw Michael Anthony come up to 5150. So maybe if Ed banned him from the studio, the producer then recorded Michael Anthony at another studio. Michael Anthony didn't play bass on any of those songs in 2004 on The Best of Both Worlds, and apparently wasn't even an official band member at the time. So we shall find out. I will certainly follow up with that. What do you think of that, Dave?
Great question. I'm willing to bet it was another studio.
Yeah, I have a feeling. It is a great question, that's for sure. Letter number 5, Dave and Dave, comes from Curtis Lancios. Oh, and he writes in another lengthy letter. Why am I surprised? Kurt is actually a really nice guy, and he did an incredible thing for us. Now, if you heard the bumper before the mailbag, okay, the Dave and Dave bumper, you're listening to Dave and Dave Unchained, Kurt did something that was so very kind, and I'm going to go out of my way to thank him here. He got actor Robert Romanus, who played Damone in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, to record a special Dave and Dave Unchained bumper for us. And I am thrilled beyond thrilled because Fast Times is one of my all-time favorite movies. Damone is one of my all-time favorite characters in movie history. And he's also Van Halen related because in the movie he used to sell Van Halen tickets.
What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Are you the guy with the Van Halen tickets?
That could be.
How much you want for something in the first 10 rows?
$20 a piece.
Those tickets are only $12.50.
So don't buy them.
Come on, Arnold. All the other scalpers are sold out.
Scalper? Did you call me a scalper? Listen, gentlemen, I perform a service here, and the service costs money. Now, do you want the tickets or don't you?
Okay, we'll take them.
All right. What did I say, 25?
20.
Kurt, I want to thank you for that, so I'm going to read your long letter. So it says, Dave, happy 2020 to you. Thanks to Criblay for doing penance and reading my November 2019 letter in its entirety on the December 2019 podcast. I agree it was very long, but I was trying to be thorough, as both of you are with your great Van Halen podcast. I really do appreciate all the work you guys do every month to put out the episodes, so thank you so much for giving me great listening from my long commute to and from work. I wanted to share one more brief thing with you, which occurred on my trip to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for 80s in the Sand last November. As you and the listeners may recall, I shared that Sammy Hagar and the Circle was headlining the show at the event. Well, one night I was headed to dinner with my friends Mike Pitak and Francie Cheadle, and on the way we started talking to this guy who turned out to be Michael Anthony's bass tech, Kevin King Dugan, known as Doogie. He was very nice to us and gave each of us a Michael Anthony bass pick, and he also shared some great stories about us with Van Halen, Sammy, Michael's Mad Anthony hot sauce, and everything. He's actually the man who came up with the design from Michael's Jack Daniels bass guitar. And he sent us a picture of him with Doogie. If you can get a hold of Doogie, I'm sure he'd be happy to give you guys an interview. And here are some of the links where you can contact him. I'll try to reach out to him and put in a bug in his ear about you guys. Once again, keep up the good work, and we'll chat again later. Warmest regards, Curtis Lancios, or a.k.a. Southeast Nice Guy Kurt. I'm going to give him that. And he says, P.S. There's only one Midwest fucking Ron, and I'll do my best to leave the critiquing of Criblay to him from now on. So I would love to have Doogie on for sure, and I will definitely reach out to him. Thank you for the links. He would be fantastic to have on. He's been with Michael for a really long time. thank you again for the Robert Romanus bumper. That was absolutely fantastic. And you guys can check out, Curtis did a funny post of me reading the letter and the whole saga on that on YouTube, where he put photos to the whole story. What did you think of that, Dave?
But that was funny. Thank you for the bumper. That was unexpected. Very cool.
Excellent.
And Doogie, we'd love to have him on the podcast, because you want to talk about a guy who's got